Right now. Hey.
Hey.
Oh.
How's it going?
Well, you know.
You okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like this place. This scene for me was the scene that the real Amy Loughren had spoken about at length with me. She described how the Charlie she knew was two different people. One was her friend who saved her life, who was kind and generous and empathetic, and the other one was a serial killer, but she described that she only met that murderer twice, and this was the first time, and how it was a completely different human being.
You ready to order?
Don't you know, I'll get a cheeseburger.
Me too.
All right.
So,
Cheeseburgers, please.
how are the girls?
They're really good.
How's the mayor?
Yeah, she's great.
Feel better?
Yeah. Work's been pretty awful without you there. We were like partners.
I know.
And like the worst part is that everyone is just, you know, talking shit about you all the time.
I guess they would. Yeah.
It makes me mad because you're not there to defend yourself, and so, you know, I'm going to town on everyone. And Sandra, she
Oh, God.
oh, she got an earful. Now they'll be talking shit about me.
You know, I don't want to talk about Parkfield. It's...
Why not?
It's a power struggle, but it's also, in some sense, both characters are emerging from some kind of shadow in the scene. They both have not been honest about who they are or what they think. So we're saying something different than what's happening inside.
Is it because what they're saying is true?
The fulcrum of this scene was that Charlie believed in this person as an authentic human being, and the second, that he questioned her authenticity when she says, I would forgive you if you did something like that.
I wouldn't care if you did those things.
He knows her too well. He knows that's a lie. And that's the moment when the friendship, I think, crumbles in his eyes.
I mean, I could understand. You could explain.
The thing that I remember discovering in our first take of this was the moment when Jessica reached out to me and I smashed, and this cheap diner cutlery smashed. And it created this violent thing that actually shocked me.
When you slammed the table, I jumped. And then I went round the corner to where craft services were, and I did a little dance to myself. Because I was so happy, because it's one of the absolute pivotal scenes in the film. And it's just such a raw act of violence, but it's so innate, it's against the table. And it gives you then the suspense and the tension to carry it all the way through. And I wish I wrote that moment, it's so good.
We needed a guy that the audience automatically and naturalistically could befriend and wanted to be friends with. Eddie Redmayne was exactly what we were looking for.
Tobias never told you to speed up as an actor. I'm so used to that on film, and I absolutely get it, that the thoughts have to come quickly and you have to, in order for it to make it into the edit. But so much of this scene was about the power of silence.
You're filled with something, but you don't want to show the person that you're sitting across from what is true. Mm-hmm. So both of us are hiding until we can't hide anymore.
And I was thinking that maybe you and Maya and Alex and then me and my girls, we could go on a day trip or something.
I want to talk about Parkfield. I want to talk about what you did.
These takes were long takes, but you never felt rushed. And actually, I felt incredibly relaxed and it was so important because there's an absolute arrogance and insouciance to him in this moment when he claims the time after she's confronted him.
There's a moment like where it's also like, you're not gonna break me. probably for both of them. The way that Tobias directed it, especially like where you see we're shrinking, and even in terms of how much we visually see of Charlie or Amy in this, is because so much is in the shadows.
That idea of two different people, a disassociative quality, was something that Krysty had put into the scene. So that idea that you see him flip, and you see, as Jess was saying, this extraordinary power struggle, which was thrilling to play, because it was about two actors and two characters trying to retain the power.
There's like two things in films that we can operate with, what we hope for and what we fear. And in this case, we hope that Amy is able to stop him, and we fear that he will get away with it, right?
I gotta go. Starting a new job. Can't be late, so I'll call soon.
And the interesting part of that point in a character study is that that's the character almost being ready to take it all, but haven't learned just that last thing yet. She's brave to do everything. She's brave to confront him. She's brave to do the power struggle with the eyes, but she's not brave enough to admit that there is a true friendship between them. Yeah. And not until she was ready to do that, she was ready to stop him. And that's this whole scene.
He's leaving, you guys. He's leaving. He's walking out right now.
Because everything really happened. The last scene in the film really happened. The diners, it's all true. When I hear a story about a woman's bravery and that this individual was able to take down this system of corruption and save people's lives, I wanted to be a part of it.
The real thing that she was left with was this idea that she had failed, that she hadn't got him to confess. And that to me I thought was that shouldn't have ever been her job to begin with. And to go in with this zeal and this thing, and I think you play that so perfectly.
When I read Krysty's script, I didn't know anything about this story. On the one hand, it was this real-life superhero story about this woman who did extraordinary things, and it was also a terrifying indictment of a system. There were two villains in the piece. There was this man who did monstrous things, and there was a system that sustained that. And it's somehow these systems can grow out of wonderful places and ideas, but the second that you become a cog in the machine, and with becoming that cog, you lose a sense of humanity and the power of the individual, then things go awry. And this film was about the power of the individual.